welcome to episode number 9 of For the Record podcast. I'm your host, Rhoni, and I've got here
Danielle.
How's it going? It's been a whole week.
Yeah.
It's been a whole week.
Okay, we have something desperately to finish here. And we can't go off topic until we get it done. Then we can go off topic.
So this is part 2 of the timeline episode, which is episode number 8. So sorry to keep you all waiting for an entire week, but the way we had to be done. It had to be done.
We were
It had to be done. We were running out of time, and we didn't want it to be a long podcast, so we just kept it. But if you're coming back, welcome to episode 9 and part 2 of Timelines. So last time I think we talked a lot about the world issues and got distracted for the first 15 minutes. So this time we're going to keep it on track.
And then if you noticed, I got to... Oh, wait. Should I reveal it? Yeah. Okay. It's been a week after. You should totally pay attention to the graphics. To take that picture, I got to slap Rhoni like 6 times. I was like, "You're out of frame," and just kept slapping.
So
him.
if you saw, no, that'll be the first. That'll be last week's episode. So they saw the
graphics of
the thumbnail. The thumbnail was Danielle slapped me.
I just went extra.
Recreating Will Smith and Chris Rock.
We should have videoed the whole entire experience.
Oh man.
It was like boom, boom, boom.
For you guys, it's been a week. For me, it's only been a couple minutes, so it still hurts.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been we should get it on video. I'm like, stop smiling, slap, slap, slap.
Dude, we had to recreate that. So,
Love it.
but
Love it.
Timeline part 2, we stopped at ceremony last time, right? About ceremony, and then so we'll take it from there. So let's get that timeline bigger. There you go.
Perfect. Just going over a little tiny review. We said don't get too worked up. It's just like a floating document. It's really good for all vendors, everyone to be a part of. We also talked about please in your timeline allow your driving time. If you have to drive it ahead of time to know how long it takes, that is important. We talked about allowing photographer, videographer just a little bit of time within that day to get those ceremony and reception photos when there's nobody around. Not the end of the world. If you have that's that squishy time that if it has to go, it has to go on the timeline. Something going array, that's okay. Array. Okay, I'm trying to learn my words here. But back to this timeline here. I'll get you to pop that back up for me. We also talked about cheekbones, talked about coffee. Okay, so...
that's how we get sidetracked so fast.
So bad. But I feel like, isn't that like every podcast ever?
Every podcast, we get sidetracked and we come back. And we try to come back.
Let's talk about family photos.
Yeah.
Okay, so family photos, we've talked about shock collar. We've also talked about a shot collar. Right,
episode number that was episode number 1 or 2, I think. That was also a tip, wedding tip Wednesday. Oh, if you're not listening, wedding tip Wednesday, every Wednesday is coming out, minute long tips on Danielle and my Instagram.
You know what's really funny? I'm the one that wanted that, and this is how that all started, and then I haven't posted one, not even one. Okay.
So who's the slacker now?
I know. I do nothing. Okay. So for the family photos, huge. Don't sit there and go through, well, each picture will take X amount of time. Do not worry about that whatsoever. Family photos, all depends the time you allow for that. Always give yourself a little bit more. So if you're ever going to overestimate time allowance, put it into your family photos. Do you find that?
100%. And again, when you move that to little... It put enough more time for family photos than regular, always. Right? Yeah. So then we can move the wiggle room around.
If you have some extra time, you get to go to the washroom, you get a drink, you get to visit.
100%.
So family photos, like I said, have it somewhat organized. It's just, I'm very, I guess if I could involve myself in every single bride's day for this next 2 years here, I want you to not, if you can help it, brides, in your beautiful white dress, be yelling across the yard, "The Anderson side!" Have someone else do it for you. That's all I'm saying.
Then we decided, what was it? We need a shot collar, and again, this could be anybody.
Just okay.
Shot collar every time.
Just someone to say, okay, we're gonna start with the
Anderson
side,
family and then the Johnson's
then
family,
we're gonna
and then that way.
side.
So that way, the person that's gonna I'm gonna quickly sidetrack here. Usually when we provide sound for ceremonies too, right after the ceremony is done, when the family photos happen, and we tell the officiant, hey, once you're done, just about when it's done, when they walk out, and when the wedding party walks out and everyone's done, at the end of it, just do a quick announcement saying, hey, the immediate family, please step aside to this side, or the family photos are happening here at this location, so make sure to go there right after here, so that's not that way that gives the photographer, everybody makes their way there, and
Yeah.
we're able
Put
to
that in
get
your
things done
list of
sooner, and
things.
that could be done when they're efficient. Or we also have, again, as ourselves as again, we can announce that too from a DJ perspective, that with certain family members, please make your way to this location for the photos, right?
And even beforehand, I mean, totally just let your mom or your dad or whatever, just let family members know they're going to be a part of family photos. Because sometimes sometimes if you want, you do extended family, do immediate family, just do uncles, do cousins, do whatever you want to do. But when it comes to timeline and things, allow extra time. It always takes longer. Someone will forget. Never goes perfectly. Like it goes pretty good or pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
even then, bad still is good. So
Mm-hmm.
family photos, allow extra time for. All depends on how. If you're just doing like your mom and your dad and your brother and your sister and that's it, that's all. For both sides, it's gonna go pretty quick, right? But then again, so and so wandered off in the parking lot and no one can find them, so that always happens too.
And also having a list of all these people, right? So, okay,
Yeah.
who are the immediate family from both sides, whose names we need to have, and who all
Yeah.
need to have in the photos, because having a list that sometimes
Yep.
couples provide too, that gives us an idea of, okay, who's
And
going to be next, right?
and the expectation, this is like I'm like I guess I wear many hats on a wedding day, but like to expect a photographer to know
Know who the
all your
family.
family is. So when you look back at your photos and like, I didn't get a picture with my second removed aunt from the fifth side on my dad's third cousin. No, not gonna remember. So many
Well,
people.
and that applies to video too, right?
Yep.
So, like, we need to know who the important people are, and
Yep.
at some level, when we come in and when we talk to people, we'll sort of introduce ourselves and we let them know, and then while the day is going on, we get to understand who they are. And the problem with that is we don't know who their family members are,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And sometimes, having a little introduction during the getting ready part or during the
Yep.
family photos time gives us an idea to know who they are.
Yeah.
Now going forward, so throughout the evening or throughout the day, then we get to sort of put them
Yep.
in places because we know who are special and who are
it's,
important.
after the 50th family photo, I don't remember if you got that one-on-one with your
So
second
and so, right,
stepsister,
right,
like the one of just you and her.
right.
So I don't want you looking back on your day and being, I got a one-on-one photo with everyone but this person. My photographer didn't let me know.
Right.
That's a lot. That's a lot. I can
Right.
perform great in so many ways, but put that on someone else's shoulders. Shouldn't be on yours. If you put it on the photographers, they might pull it off.
Right.
Probably won't.
Right.
Put it on a bridesmaid. Put it on a cousin, sister.
Like have
groomsman.
someone who you
Have
think
someone
is
else,
who's gonna be able to
watch
be
it
responsible and watch that
watch
they're
it and figure it
done,
out
right?
for you.
Because
I've
we're
never
going
had
through
huge issues.
no, yeah,
Okay. I've never had huge issues with that whatsoever, but if family photos are something the hill you're gonna die on, there's ways to organize it and
Right.
put it into your timeline.
got it.
Absolutely.
So next point on the timeline is
How much time would you allow for dinner before speeches? And that's fluid.
so dinner comes down to how many people you have and what kind of
Mhm.
dinner, right? So, let's say rule of thumb, there's anywhere between 140 to 150, right? So 150 people, and if it's a buffet, then
It's gonna take a
150
lot
people, it's
longer.
gonna take a lot longer for 150 people to go through, and seconds by the time you're done, for it to be okay. Everyone's good, dinner's done. But if it's a serve, then that's a different story because
Everyone
it
gets
could be
served really quickly.
everyone don't people don't have to move around. Everybody again, there are waiters and there are servers who come to the table, take care of you faster, and take the plates away from first course, second course to entrees to whatever, right? So, in a sense that I guess it comes down to how many people you have and what kind of dinner service you have. So if you're, let's assume 150 people buffet service, you're gonna have to think about about
It's
an hour,
gonna
an hour
wait
and a
a little
half.
bit.
An hour and a half is a good time. So let's say dinner starts exactly at 6. You can expect it to go at a good time without rushing anybody about 7:30.
I
Right.
agree.
So
I agree.
7:30 is a good time. So
Well,
let's
it
say if
depends
you have
on your
less,
caterers and menu.
100% too, right? How many rows of
Yep.
people are there? How many tables and all that stuff, right?
Like,
So
you can't quite tag that for everyone. That was not a
Mm.
copy and paste thing for your timeline. But what I will say, this is probably the biggest thing. Well, I keep saying this is the biggest thing. This is the biggest thing. Just a big lead up on all these things. But I want to say that first dance or those dances or speeches are meant to be moved
Mm.
because if the day goes late and sunset's out, you're going to leave for your sunset photos, and the first dances or the speeches can happen when you get back. So don't be like, oh, the plan.
Right.
Nope.
Right.
After supper, the only thing that kind of, because you only have a window. You have a window for those photos if you're
20
choosing
minutes.
to do them.
Yeah.
98% of people, it's probably their favorite photos, their favorite couple photos
Right.
the entire night
Right.
is those sunset ones where you just get a little breather from the party too. So I mean,
And let's not put the sunset photos like 30 minutes from where your location is, or 20
Yeah.
minutes from, like it has to be 5 minutes, 7 minutes max to from where your location is.
That's what your
where
limits
your
are.
venue is to
Because you
where
don't want to
your-
miss your
yeah.
party. It's an hour driving from your
And
party.
you're gonna miss the sunset by the time you start getting
Yeah.
there, and then you get there, and then or either you're gonna leave early before anything, or you're gonna finish everything. By the time you get back, it'll be like late.
Honestly, we should add that into how to pick a location, how to pick your venue, because there are amazing venues, and I'm not going to get into naming them, where the sunset photos, there's nowhere to take them around that amazing venue to get something different.
100%.
So it's just something to think about if you're getting married on your family farm. Look that up, or be like, oh, this would be a really good sunset.
And also
photos.
look at your photographer's previous like photos on their Instagram and their stuff. So like, what does their sunset photos look like, and what kind of? So look at the locations what that potential could have been, and ask the photographer too. Hey, this is my location. Where do you think is there anything? Any locations
and
around
you know what's
it that
weird
would work
enough
for?
is like some photographers sunset photos the bread and butter, some photographers the whole entire day is their bread and butter. So don't get hung up on that like I talk about it because I know that it's important to me, but other people, their best content comes from different places, or everybody's so different. I hate to see, and I've seen it before, bridal parties I've been in, where the bride and grooms opted out of sunset photos, and I'm just like twitching in the background trying to keep my mouth shut. I'm like, like, I don't think you should, but I'm like, not my day, not my day, not my day, not my day.
Yeah.
But
Again, they made their choice, and then that's what they wanted, right?
but
So-
everyone has their reasons, and some people are like, you know what, we've got lots of photos, I just want to stay at my party.
Right.
Fair. I
Right.
gotta respect that.
And you do get photoed out a certain time,
Yeah.
right? So some couple do get photoed out after a certain time. They're like, okay, we've done so many photos, right?
Like,
So
we're good.
if you feel like, it comes down to what the day looks like and how you feel
Also,
like,
though,
right?
if
So,
the sun, if it's cloudy out and it's just your photographer may help us make that call for you. If the weather's not permitting, they might give you
100%.
the choice. Hey, do you want this or do you want that? So
Totally.
don't get too hung up on anything. I think sometimes too you get so much
Being
information.
flexible, yeah.
You get so much information. It's kind of like becoming a new mom and your first time giving childbirth. There's so many opinions. There's so many things you could do. Could do home birth, midwife, doctor, this. You get so worked up and you're just wondering if you're doing the right thing, or it's almost ruined the experience for you. So we don't ever want to do that.
No. What we're trying to tell you is there are options. There are so many options.
Tips and tricks.
There are so many ways to do a certain thing, and it doesn't have to be one way.
Yeah.
And by giving you these options, you get to pick what works for you,
Yeah.
even though there's outside voices and opinions telling you this should be done a certain way. Let's not think about that.
No.
Let's think that, okay, it could be done any way possible. This is my options, and I'm going to pick the one that I'm more comfortable
and
with or
sometimes
more
being
works for me.
more knowledgeable. So sometimes you look at a wedding day plan or something, even a bride's handed you, and I'm like, why did they do this? But they don't know. How would you know any different, right?
Right.
And like,
So,
one thing we haven't talked about too is that, like, well, we've kind of slightly touched on it, and we'll touch on it probably 60 more times in every podcast ever, every season, whatever. We're going to touch on it. First look versus not first look, right? Huge thing that can change your timeline for the entire day
It's a
is
first
to
look.
have, if you're not sure what a first look is, first look means when the bride and groom get to see each other for the first time before
fully
the
dressed and-
ceremony.
yeah.
That's what we call it. So if you don't want to see your groom or your groom to see you, if you're a bride and you're like, nope, that's not what I want, and you have 9 girls in your wedding party and you want these wedding party pictures, but your ceremony is at 4:00, not going to pan out. You're going to miss out on so many photos, and you're still paying the photographer and the videographer for their time for that day. You're just not getting the time's not going to work out for the content I think that you deserve.
Yeah, 100%. So always, again, run it by the photographer and the videographer or the wedding planner to talk to them about how the first look is going to determine the rest of your day.
And also, too, you might think you might be super traditional, but there's ways to make the first look special.
Sure.
Super special.
For sure.
There's reasons to do it. Some people do it for their nerves. 9 times out of 10 you're doing it for the timeline.
Sometimes first look, it turns out to be beautiful, and it's not even. Again, we've done a couple weddings where the first look hasn't even been a first look. They just heard each other's voices, read each other's vows, and they held hands in a corner, and then they walked away, and then we did the first look down the ceremony, right?
Yep.
But even giving that time, and that's just a beautiful moment as well, right? So again, there are different ways to do it. Always, again, go back to the reason we even.
I've even
reason
done,
we do this
I've
is
done family photos before the ceremony, immediate family photos, done those before the ceremony.
100%. So, like, there's different ways to do it. Again, talk to your videographer, talk to your photographer, talk to your wedding planner. Understand they've seen so many weddings, they've planned so many weddings, they've been part of different variations of
so many different
the
options.
day, and that experience will help guide what you want for the day, right?
Yeah, and then going back to the evening side of things too, with your speeches and whatnot, careful with your open mic. There's some parties where you've got the right crowd, and it's like it could go on forever, and there's some where it's like that's your kissing game, but no one comes up to say anything, right? So I mean, allow time for that. And here's one thing that I want to talk about, kind of sort of part of timeline. If you're doing a bouquet toss or a garter toss too, that can be put on the back burner, because those are events that either go like so well, or like nobody stands up, so the pictures aren't as fruitful as you thought. Put those on the back burner. If like some people, it's just not. Do you find people are still doing them? I'm barely finding people are still doing them, but I love them.
It is. It's
dying?
gone down. It's definitely a changing tradition at this point, and also even the people who are doing it, we're trying to keep it as interesting as possible, right?
Yeah.
And we're trying to keep it fun. We're trying to keep it, as unique as possible too. So, right now it's sometimes it's like, oh, let's choose a song, let's figure out how the night's gonna go, and then go from there. And sometimes it's like, oh, we don't have a lot of single friends, it's not gonna, like, we know the invite list doesn't have it, right?
Well, then you do a longevity dance, right, too.
So there's just different ways to use the bouquet.
It's kind of like, what's that movie? It's like, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
It's if you build it, the content will be there.
So you could switch the idea of the bouquet toss, except it's done differently, right?
So have you, I think you have, but I'm going to pop this out there. If you haven't heard of a longevity dance and you feel like you don't have girls to do, are going to fight over this, but you want to do something special, a longevity dance is something I've seen. It started to happen where the bride and groom, it's more of your DJ side.
So
of things.
basically, what we try to do is we get everybody. So
formal
dance is done. The first dance, father-daughter dance, mother-son dance is done, and then we get everybody on the dance floor.
All
couples. If you have a partner, if you're a couple, you come get on the dance floor, and then the question goes something like, okay, so if you've been married for a day or less, step aside from the dance floor.
The bride and groom head out.
Of course, right? So then it goes on from 1 to 2 to 5 to 10, 15, 20, how many years. So that goes on from, that goes on for a while, and then at some point you're going to see, if you've been married for 45 years or more, or 50 years or more, and then, it's usually the grandparents or family that's been married.
And when you plan
right?
this, the bride and groom's going to know who's going to get the bouquet. You can't have two people the same year, and then you're like, now what?
Right. So usually we keep going, and we ask you guys to, when we're planning, so who do you think is the most married, and then you sort of you tell us, okay, this is the outcome
it's gonna be my grandma or my parents or whoever,
and then you walk up to them and give them the bouquet. And then the bride and groom
walks up to them and they give them the bouquet.
Yeah.
And just so you know, it doesn't have to be your bridal bouquet. It could be one of your bridesmaids bouquet. It could be just something off the table. It's whatever, but it's kind of cute because everyone
and the picture
people are into it.
100%, and they love it, and the engagement of that definitely works as well, right?
I like it.
So and
especially if it's your grandparents,
for sure.
Then they get pictures from that too. It's super cute, and they don't see it coming.
Sometimes we also reverse it by going, let's do it the other way. So let's add, if you've been married for a day or less, get on the dance floor. If you've been married for a year, get on the dance floor. So what we try to do is pack the dance floor with the most amount of people, and the longest married come in last. They get to dance a little bit longer, and then the rest of them sort of fade away, and then we give them that, and then from there on we start the dance floor. So the dance floor is already there, and we get going.
Honestly, I haven't seen it, but just my own personal idea from Danielle Product Photography. Just joking.
Trademarked.
Yeah, trademarked. I need a shout out.
Copyright.
Just joking. What about, doing a garter toss? Like, what does it really mean? It used to mean that if you caught it, you'd be like the next one getting married. Right?
Same thing with a bouquet too.
I would, younger me would be like, whoop, out of the way.
So
Must be
nowadays the
bridesmaid
garter
for
toss,
forever.
we're trying to keep it interesting, right? So
Let's change it.
like we've seen grooms getting iced so many times, like where they have no idea. They basically lift the dress up. There's a Smirnoff Ice waiting for
I've
them.
got the best picture
So-
of that. We should have got that ready for today and popped it
So
up there. Yeah.
and they have, so sometimes we've had two, so where they had to basically, the groom had to chug one
Yeah.
and then take a Smirnoff Ice and toss the Smirnoff Ice behind
Yeah.
instead of a garter. So the guy who's got it,
You know
who
what?
catches it has to chug it as
You know
well.
what would be really fun though? Change it up. Like you guys, how about you have all the married men out there, and whoever catches it doesn't have to do a shot or something like that.
Mhm.
Change it up, make it your own. I'm all about the uniqueness of weddings in the smallest, inexpensive
100%.
ways.
100%. And also sometimes, I think one of our colleagues did this. I don't know who did it, but one of them did. So basically, the groomsman was a firefighter.
Yeah.
So and the groom was a firefighter, and the groomsmen also were friends with him, who was also a firefighter. So basically, what happened was they pre-recorded a announce or a radio call in saying, "Hey, there's an emergency at this location," which is the wedding venue, and then so the men are nowhere to be found, but she's waiting for the garter to be removed, sitting down in this middle of the dance floor, but there's nobody to be found. So we have an emergency, and the guy's literally full on fireman gear, walk in, come in.
That's like a Magic Mike moment.
Literally, right? So and then they come in, and then they pull out a map. The groomsmen pull out a map, and the groom's like, "Okay, we got to do this. This is a, like it's actually like
I
as
can
they're
just
trying to
feel
do
it like I'm there.
So it's like
So you're telling me when I get married, I can come in my fire gear?
100%.
Yeah, with my yeah.
Yeah, it'll be Shane sitting down.
Yeah, I know. It'll be me with my jaws of life dragging them in with my fire gear.
Oh, and then basically he goes in, but he brings the stuff with him. So he was throwing out like a hammer first, and he's and we've switched that on a mechanic side too, right?
If
So
you get that on video, that
It
lives
is
on
so-
forever.
And we've done the same thing on a mechanic side too, where the groom was a mechanic, so he would slide down under the dress, like when in his little. Okay, when mechanics are on their back,
Yeah,
and
you
they're
know,
slide
with
down
the
under the
little
car.
metal,
So
like,
and then
lunchbox
he would
toolbox.
slide in and then start throwing out like bolts and nuts and like wrenches and like
It's like
you
a
know,
performance for
like
everybody.
and it's so funny to see that, and then
See,
it comes out.
As
So
a bride / not a bride / female in general / I don't even know. We can go on forever, but that's the best
27
wedding.
time bridesmaids.
Yeah, 27 bridesmaids. 24/7 dresses. Okay, but as a bride, like if someone did that to me, I'd be like the best wedding present ever. Like done deal. Got it on video. I'd hit repeat.
Right.
Like watch.
Again, those are moments that you get to create, and you sit down,
Yeah.
plan about it, and think about it, and then those are things. Once you plan it out, you let your
And if
videographer know, and
running
this.
on fumes for ideas. Why not just ask those
Right, this is
professionals? You
what we're
guys,
here
we
for, right?
love this
Yes.
stuff. Take my free time. I'll plan it for you.
So that's the photography side of so it's called a creeper.
Yeah.
That's what that's called. So
okay.
where you lay where
On
the
a-
mechanic lays on it, and
a
then he
mechanic bed
slides
with
under,
wheels.
right?
Oh,
That's
wow.
what it's called.
They
So
actually brought one of those.
he bought one of those, and then instead of just lifting the dress up, he literally
slid
laid in and slid under the
on
dress.
a bed thing.
And then
Okay.
and then he literally, so where the bride's sitting, behind her is all these tools. So he slid under, put his hand behind the stool,
Just
and then
saying, everyone needs one of
started
those.
throwing that around. It's so good. It was so good.
Love it. Love
But
it.
no,
Nothing
it was,
to do with the timeline, but love it.
So that's the idea of the photo timeline, and that's how
And you can get that on
you
sale
want
at Princess Auto. Just joking.
Princess Auto sponsor.
Yeah.
Any company name we're dropping, they need to
We've
be
never
sponsoring.
received money, FYI. That's just-
We're doing this out of the
Trying to-
pure goodwill of who we are.
yeah, we're just trying to get it started, seeing if anyone's gonna take the bait.
So we're gonna
Yeah.
throw out names and sponsor names every
Went
time.
for the $2 coffee, no bites.
No bites yet. Firm flavor still waiting. It's been a week.
It's actually
Okay,
been
so
a
that's
coffee
the
bag.
photo and videography timeline. So let's again, from an entertainment perspective, I want to switch into what our entertainment side of timeline looks like. It is not as detailed as Danielle's, but this is
But it's
this is
way
just
prettier.
hashtag thanks Canva. Canva.com.
Uh, sponsor.
Okay. So this is Jess and Blake's wedding. This was in September last year. It was a phenomenal time. We loved every part of it. So from an entertainment perspective, we care about who all is involved during the day, right? So we want to take care of how and who and what time, right? So starting with the ceremony first. So we need to know what time people are going to be arriving for the ceremony, because we have music playing in the background now. This could be any style you choose, right? So this could be folk, country, pop, mix of everything, medleys, doesn't matter. So we're gonna talk about what time the prelude is gonna start. So that means we're there setting up anywhere about an hour before the ceremony starts. That is an hour before your guests arrive.
This is so cute because
So-
I definitely don't have a prelude on mine.
Well, again, we are involved with it, right, music wise. So
I
and
gotta
that's
use that word a lot more. Prelude. Okay, sorry.
Danielle's running on coffee today.
Oh, I need to go to the
Only
washroom.
coffee today. So if she's a little looped out, you know.
I honestly, there's a couple days last week. I'm like, oh, it's been 24 hours. I've got to just eat a protein bar. What have you been eating? Coffee. I've been
God.
eating and
Drinking coffee. I've had those days. So yeah, that's prelude, and then the start time of the ceremony we need to involve. So now in our timeline, when you're looking at it, if you're on video, you could see each song of who's involved, what's going on. So groomsmen are going to walk into this song, the groom's going to walk into this song, and he's going to be leading the groomsmen with the ring bearer, or he's going to be walking with their parents. Things like that. We talk about bridesmaids and what are the song of the bridesmaids going to walk into, right?
I like to see it in text because it's like this, just looking at this, the type A personalities are probably just like shaking. They're like, yeah.
They're loving it.
Yeah.
And the best part about this too is with the whole having the time between the prelude and the start time. During that time is when we mic up the groom, mic up the officiant, so everybody can hear you guys and everybody is able to listen to your vows and that sort of stuff. So that gives us the time during that time too. And then it goes on to bride and what you're walking into.
And even having a cake cutting song, that's awesome. I didn't think about that.
So going to reception after 4:00 cocktails. So this is when cocktails are going to start, and from cocktails we're moving to grand entrance. So cocktails we gave on this timeline. You don't see the photo time because that's what fills in with the photo, right? So between cocktails and grand entrance is family photos and couple photos. So we sort of didn't include that in
Is this one, you guys were just DJing this one?
Yeah.
That's amazing you put this together for that.
Well, again, this
I don't
gives
think DJs do, like, I think you guys go extra. I don't think
well,
DJs
we need to
do this.
This
is amazing,
we
though.
want to give the people who
I'm
are
shocked.
talking, right? So this is your speeches, this is your MC, this is your caterer, this is you guys, so what time first dance is going to be. You just put my first dance is in after dinner, but you don't know what time it is, what time speeches are going to be, right? So this gives them an idea. So grand entrance starts at 5:45, and then we go through that, and then opening remarks of who's talking, right? So that's sort of important into talking about it too. So 6:15 dinner starts, 7:10 we cut cake. We talk about what time you want to cut the cake, and then right after. Sometimes if you're doing sunset photos between dinner and cake cutting is where sunset photos are.
And that's, like I said, fluid.
Yeah, right. So
We push things around after supper.
Those work during that time, and then 8:00 we start speeches. So
I gotta cut you off. Bouquet toss, single ladies classic by Beyonce.
So
classic.
speeches we go through. Welcome to the family from both sides of the family. Toast the bride, your best maid of honor. Toast the groom, your best man, and then a thank you from you guys as a couple. So that also part of it. So then speeches end. We get into formal dances. First dance, father, daughter, mother, son dance. Nowadays, wedding party dance is also a very we'll feel it out if we want to do it or not kind of thing. So
so many
the
different
staples.
ideas to add to little details to your day, but you literally have on here last dance, so a couple gets to pick their last dance of the night.
The
that
very
is
last
awesome.
song. Very last song
I'm
of the night.
learning things right now just by looking at like I don't
Because
see
you're
the
done. Because you're done. What
side.
9 p.m. and when the dance starts, you're done,
Honestly,
right? So most
no.
photographers are too.
Yeah, most are, but
Yeah.
I'm a lingerer. I
You-
like to linger.
You and Finney, I see Finney's Instagram stories on a Saturday night. And he's like people are
forever.
dancing, and he's
Yeah.
like, dude, you're
Depends.
there.
Okay, I live off. I was taught / live off of, put your hours out there, but will over deliver. So if I say I'm gonna be there for 6 hours, 8 hours, a lot of times if stuff's happening, like I got a FOMO,
Yeah.
I will be there
Yeah.
to watch. Like I'm like, sometimes best content is because you stayed an extra 45 minutes to an hour. So if people are doing handstands across the dance floor or using the tent pole
as a stripper pole,
do you think I'm gonna leave? I'm not leaving.
Oh,
right?
the photos.
Like some of
The same thing too.
crazy
Guys,
photos
the guys
I
have
got
gone,
is because I turned my head and waited.
yeah.
Right?
And some of the other guys have gone out for videos and photos before, and when they come back home, it's like 1:30 in the morning. I'm like, what? Wait, did you stay and party with the couple? It's like because their things are happening and they want to capture it together. So that's the last couple points, and then on the timeline. So once we get through speeches, we get through formal dances. Again, bouquet toss, garter toss. Again, this is usually 9:30, 10 is when we start doing that, and because you want to let the alcohol do its work a little bit. And then last bit is 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. last dance, end of the night, right? So that's an entertainment timeline. So we sort of correlate this with your photo and video timeline and put it all together.
There's so many things to consider, but keep it light, you guys. Keep it light.
The idea of the timeline is to give you guys and the people around you a guideline on what's happening, and that's it. It is not a set in stone. It's not a have to do it this way kind of thing. It's not a it's just a guideline. That's it. So
okay, I think that's all for us this week.
That is it for episode number 9, part 2 of Timelines. Thanks guys for listening to For the Record podcast. Again, one more time, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please follow and subscribe, and again, share with people if you know of someone getting married. Would love to help them out.
Love to increase our following from 2 to let's hit 400.
400, yeah, and then also follow us on Instagram, Trident Films, Trident Music, and Danielle Pelatic Photography, and we will see you on episode 10.
Woo!
Episode 10. All right, take care, guys. Bye now.